stupid dog!
Courage the Cowardly Dog was a series that perplexed me as a child. I was always drawn to the paranormal and creepy things that our world had to offer, despite terrifying myself in the process. And because of that, Courage the Cowardly Dog was right up my alley. The show was just eerie enough to hold my interest continuously, but also due to the cartoonish nature of the show, it was lighthearted enough to not scare me. I would often watch shows about ghosts and aliens when I was younger, and despite them being super interesting, I was always afraid after watching them. The benefit of Courage the Cowardly Dog was that I could get a taste of that feeling to a smaller scale, and avoid being spooked at the same time. It was no X-Files, but Nowhere, Kansas was still quite the interesting place. Something I always found compelling about people in general was their fear of the unknown. They are both drawn into the mystery, but completely petrified of what it contains as well. Why do they take pleasure in something that also causes pain and anxiety? The interesting part of all of this is that if these things people are looking for were present in their life, their gut reaction would be to have them out of it. A ghost, for example, is pretty interesting to ponder about and seek out answers for, but if that ghost was actually present in someone's life, that would kinda suck. A scary ghost story is fun, but you wouldn't want to be in a scary ghost story. If that was the case, there's a high chance that person actually would want things to go back to normal. It's like they want to test drive these feelings while exploring the idea from a safe distance. In the show, Courage is tossed directly into this exact situation, where his world is turned upside down and he is the only one who can resolve it. In many ways, he is the opposite of what we are told. Despite being labeled as cowardly, he is actually quite brave. Without his heroic deeds, this poor couple from nowhere would succumb to a variety of cruel fates. And it is this selflessness that shines brightest in the most grimmest situations.
Whoa, wait a minute, hold up. On the surface, Courage the Cowardly Dog does seem to be a show about a little dog trying to save his home from encroaching badness. The purest of the pure as far as cartoon heroes go, surely. But is that what's really going on? Probably. Is there a little more going on in Nowhere than we might think? Could be. I want to tell you about something a touch more subtle, something deeper and a bit more insidious. Courage's obsession with the status quo. Now let's back up for a second and unpack what I really mean there. Does the little pink dog have an agenda to push? Is he a conniving villain in his own right, hiding his real intentions behind a hero's mask? No, probably not. But what Courage does want is to be happy. Happy and safe and healthy. At almost any cost, even if that means danger or irreparable and creepy transformations for himself or the people around him. How many times do we see Courage risk life and limb to bring his humans back home? How many terrifying leaps into the unknown dark of super mega spooky town does Courage make only to come back literally changed into a giant kangaroo monster, or a helicopter, or playing host to a criminally minded tongue fungus? Is it self-sacrifice for the sake of his loved ones, or is Courage really only in this game for courage? Let's pick it apart with a list real quick. 1. Courage has some abandonment issues, and these issues never really see a good resolution. Of course, we do eventually learn the fate of his parents, but he never meets them face to face. He never receives any real closure, and as a result, he clings tenaciously to the safe and stable home provided by his adopted family. And as it turns out, in a place like Nowhere, safety is what you make it. 2. Courage wants safety. Quick break, what's up with that cozy living room tableau that usually begins and ends an episode of Courage? Everyone seated in their favorite chairs, Eustace reading the paper, Muriel watching her shows with Courage dozing on her lap. This is safety. This is security. This is the baseline that Courage fights to maintain, meaning that, ultimately, Courage just wants to be safe, to be cozy and carefree. But that doesn't necessarily just mean from the monsters and bad things that assault the farm or take him away from Muriel or Muriel away from him. He really just wants that safe and cozy little tableau. For Courage, that is a safe and happy life, and he's at his most desperate and devious when it comes time to defend that. Case in point, the great Fusili. A wandering performer arrives and promises Eustace and Muriel fame and fortune if only they'll join his traveling show. Courage is reluctant at first, pulled in later with similar promises and flattery, but ultimately disenchanted when he later discovers a backstage room full of former victims turned puppet. A few cartoon hero tricks later, and Courage rescues the now puppetized Eustace and Muriel, carrying them safely back to the farmhouse as Fusili is left to dangle in his own trap. The standout thing is that there is no cure. There is no safe resolution for Courage's family. They're left locked inside their puppet bodies as Courage speaks and moves for them, pretending that nothing's changed and everything's all okay. And this plays out again and again throughout Courage's adventures. Muriel is given a second childhood by a freak weather accident, and Courage drops her from an airplane to return her to old age, and then take a nap in front of the TV. Instead of curing Eustace, the mutant space chicken, Courage vaporizes him and brings Muriel her rocking chair, so he can take a nap. After helping Eustace to exorcise his possessed wife, Courage bundles the old man up and ships him off, all full of demons, then takes a nap in front of the TV. And often, just like when we left Courage alone with his wooden puppet family, Courage looks into the camera, to us in the audience, and says, "The things I do for love." 3. Courage wants safety forever. Again and again, Courage's actions fly in the face of the show's title goal. But what is that goal really? For Courage to save his new family? For Courage to protect Eustace and Muriel from the creepy stuff that happens in nowhere? No.
It's up to Courage to save his new home!
It's up to Courage to save his new home. For Courage, home is safety and stability. It's a family to be part of, even if that family is just a decoration. Even if he has to risk his life and the lives of everyone around him, Courage always fights to preserve that stable nucleus of not being alone. And in doing that, he fights change, and that changes the metaphor a bit. Courage's stories stop being a safe zone to test drive feelings of fear or anxiety. Instead, they glorify safety at any cost. The analogy is no longer fighting to save what you love from danger, but to save what makes you comfortable from becoming different or scary in a concrete way.
That's an interesting way to look at things, but what about all those times where Courage saved the day by befriending monsters? Besides saving Muriel and protecting the status quo, he goes out of his way to help those who were once a threat. If he was really in it just for himself and his own safety and happiness, why would he go the extra mile?
Fair point. It does seem that for all the times Courage dragged everyone home just to settle in for a nap, there was another where he got his hands dirty and fixed some problem or misunderstanding. And that's not interpretation anymore. There are clear examples of Courage showing real bravery in the face of danger, moving beyond reacting to a threat, and reaching a new level of happiness or comfort as a result. But those don't cancel the times where his actions read more selfish than selfless, which makes the ultimate message of the show more nuanced than you might at first expect, because it's both. He is Courage the brave cowardly dog, and Courage the cowardly dog. And we enjoy what he brings us because there's something of ourselves there to watch. When we want to go for a spin in a scary world but want to stay firmly planted in our own, we need help from someone like Courage. Someone to let us know it's okay to worry, to be afraid or anxious. But at the same time, we can find value in seeing an example of what not to be, how not to handle our fears or anxieties, and we can see what good might happen or the surprises we can find if we're brave enough to acknowledge that a little bit of cowardice won't kill your courage.
Hey everyone, we hope you enjoyed this analysis of Courage the Cowardly Dog. Terminal Lazy played a huge role in making this video possible, and he'll be helping out with some future videos as well. This channel will be expanding a bit to encompass some other topics besides just games, so we hope you'll stick around for our newest endeavors. But before wrapping up, we'd of course love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Do you think Courage is selfless or selfish at its core? What scary or unknown things are you extremely interested in? And last, what was your favorite episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog and why? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. I'm Terminal Lazy, and I hope you enjoyed that little foray into some high-concept cartoon buggery. If you had a good time, why don't you check out some more goods on this channel, and be sure to hit that subscribe button, because I'll be back soon with more Toonoscopy.